What is up, Eric the Guapo?
Nothing much, Leroy.
What are we doing? What are we doing today?
We are going to be doing a review on Ultrastar from Patrick Thomas Parnell.
All right, and I think we'll do it the same way as George and I do our reviews. We're going to talk about the story. We're going to talk about the art. We're going to talk about the physical quality. Um, I'll let you go first in all these, just because you're kind of the guest, and the we do grade these on like a letter system,
All right.
and then we grade, like I said, the three categories. So which one do you want to do first? I think we'll leave physical quality for last. We usually do
hmm
that. So do you want to do story or art first? What do you think?
Um, let's do story first.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about it. Get into it, Eric. I'll let you go first.
All right. The story. I actually, I actually kind of enjoyed the story on this a little bit. Um, the first portion of the book though was real slow for me.
Hmm.
Um, like when you're following around I forget the guy's name, but he's the reporter that
Right.
doxes
Right.
all the
The
heroes.
superheroes. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And that whole portion was pretty slow because it's just backstory and all that stuff. But once Ultrastar enters into the story, that's kind of where I started enjoying it more because you saw more of the action. He was explaining himself as to why he did certain things. Um,
Yeah. There was some events that needed to, like, he had to. I don't know if account for is the right word. We're not trying to give too many spoilers here, but I
yeah.
guess there was a he had to. There's. I think you're right, Eric. Explaining. So there you
Yeah.
go. I'd agree with you.
Yeah, but after that, I like the direction it took because it pretty much explained those events, and then it gave a little bit of Ultrastar's backstory as well. And although the backstory I felt was very vague, I really wanted to know more about it. But
As far as what in the
um,
backstory though.
Ultrastar's like origin story, like remember towards the end of the book, um, I'm trying to be cryptic while
Right.
being specific too.
Right.
Um, uh when he's talking about that time when he was with his friends and then
Right.
um it just kind of left us hanging. Yeah, like you know what I mean, right? Like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I get what you mean. Like, I would agree. I don't think the story I think it's a simple story. I don't think it's a bad story. There are some things where I thought
Yeah,
I didn't care for. Throwing the way that Ultra Girl was just thrown in the mix.
yeah,
I was like,
just
like,
randomly at the
right.
end.
And then
Yeah.
there's a reveal in the book that I thought was handled not very well. But I mean,
Mhm.
that is, like I said, it's a simple story, but
Yeah.
I thought it could have been done better. But
hmm
yeah, I don't think it wasn't terrible. It wasn't anything n- new. I mean, you have the reporter, like you said, you have the superhero kind of deal. Then, so I don't know. It wasn't bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I would. It's a fun story. Not the best, not the worst. It's kind of like an average
Hmm. What would you grade?
superhero.
What would you grade it on a letter
Um,
grade?
I I would give it like a solid like C plus.
Hmm. Yeah, me.
It
I
was
think I'd give it a C. Yeah, I think a C would be good. Like I said, I, more development. Like just throwing Ultra Girl at the end was like kind of off for me. Like, huh?
yeah.
Like we spent our whole time doing this, and now Ultra Girl here to save the day, kind of thing. But
hmm
it could be better. I mean, that could be covered in a second issue, I guess, Eric. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
Uh,
Um,
Go ahead.
I did want to mention the story in the two ash cans as well because
Hmm.
that's the tier that I backed. Uh, I forgot the tier name, but it came with both covers of the book, and
Hmm.
then at two different ash cans, one with uh radioactive, the guy that could fly and he's radioactive, and General what is this dude's name?
General
Sorry.
Star, I think.
Yeah, General Star. And the story in those two books were just like pretty basic as well, but it just explored um the origin story of those two characters.
Mm-hmm.
and it actually made me very interested in General Star
Oh,
because
nice.
the because it explains his powers. It explains like he's been around since what was it, 1919.
Mm-hmm.
So just like around the what was that? Right before the first or right after the First World War or whatever. But how he was adopted by the actual like US military and was raised in the military and all that. And I thought it was just a cool little backstory to the guy. And the same goes for like Radioactive as well. It explained his backstory and his powers, where he was sick and then he was he went through this like experimental treatment where his body was highly radiated, and then
Mm-hmm.
it gave him these special powers. But it came with a caveat that I thought was real cool, was that he only has a certain amount of time to live, and I think it's like 5 or 6 years or something.
Are you saying he has Half Life? Get it?
Oh snap!
That's lame.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that game in in
Well,
so
Half Life
long.
is also a it's a radiation kind of thing. But never mind. That's a dad
Oh,
joke. I'm sorry.
I guess it went over my head too. But those two Ash games, like it was cool. It explored those two characters, and honestly, man, like I feel that General Star is probably the gem in this IP.
So you don't think
Just
it's Ultra Star or whatever? I guess you're
yeah,
interesting. All right. So you get him a C plus overall. The story I get a C. Let's go on to art. What do you think about the art, Jim?
um,
Eric, I'm sorry.
oh yeah, Jim ain't gonna like that.
No.
Um, the art, um, I'm not a huge fan of the art style. I don't really like the way that humans are drawn in this style. They to me they look kind of goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he does PTP does a very good job with like mechs and robots. And so like the mechs and robots that are in this comic are like I feel like look pretty great.
Oh
But
yeah, I told him himself. I told him himself. Like I told PTP. Like that's a strength of his. Like for people that don't know, Eric, are you familiar with like Warhammer?
not very much. No.
Well, there's these things in Warhammer called Space Marines, and they're kind of
Yeah.
big hulking armored Marines, kind of. But I always
Mhm.
say like stuff like that. Patrick is excellent at drawing, so I would agree with you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just the way he draws people, because it's not even like in the other books too, like with Johnny Phantasm and all that. Johnny Phantasm in like his skull face form looks great to me. And then the same with what is that guy, the guy with the gas mask on, he's like the red spade or something. I don't remember
Oh,
that.
you're talking Red Scarlet. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that guy, that guy looks great too. It's just when it's probably just the face that I'm off put on.
Yeah, so
that
what
off
I would kind of I don't know, like, look, I know Patrick's style, and it doesn't bother me, or else I wouldn't have backed him as much as I do. I
Yeah.
backed all the Johnny Phantasm. Now I back this. What I would say is the consistency in the art on this book drove me freaking nuts.
Mhm.
Like, and I'm gonna bring up some
Yeah.
examples here. So there's pages in this book that are superior than to anything that I've seen in Johnny Phantasm, in my estimation. Now I know this is subjective, I know
Mhm.
it's, but in my estimation, like there are pages like this page here that I think, and I'm trying to pick my pages on what to show here, but this
Yeah.
is an example of something I think is better probably in here than I've seen in Phantasm, and
Yeah.
then so that's an example, but then we'll
Mhm.
switch in my
Yeah, that was a
estimation,
really good page right there. Like it
right?
had that vision, that little prophecy or whatever that was.
hmm
Yeah, that's a good little.
And then we switch, and then we get to pages like this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what in the
Yeah.
heck?
Yeah.
So I'm not critiquing his art style. It's almost like he put more time in the other pages than he put into this page. To me, now I could be
Mhm.
wrong. I could, hell, I don't know. That's totally me just thinking. I don't like to do that, but it was so stark
Yeah,
to me, Eric, that the difference that it took you out of reading the book.
yeah. I would agree with that as well because like this, you don't see as much details, and it has kind of like an anime, like cartoonish vibe almost to it, just
So
like
yeah,
commercial art, I guess.
right.
But
So that's what I would say. Oh, let's go back to the story real quick because
yeah,
we always say that letters are part of the story. So
yeah,
you're sighing already.
yeah.
Um, but I think the letters really needed some help, and here's an example of that. Like
Mhm.
we have some tangent going on. We have a bunch of room down here. We have hyphenated words where they really don't need to be hyphenated. There's a
Yeah.
lot of widows. There's a lot of like tales that aren't pointing to the right place
Mhm.
throughout the book. So
Yeah.
I take that the lettering and I apply that to the story. That's why like it's graded down to a C. So, anyways, I just wanted to show an example.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I would agree with that too, because I would say like the first half of this book too, when we're following this guy, the reporter,
mhm.
um, it was exceptionally more wordy than the latter half
Oh,
of the book.
absolutely. Yeah, I feel
And
like I definitely agree with you. I feel like there needed to be more pages because there
yeah,
was a lot of dialogue going on and certain there's like 4 pages where it's almost there's a lot of dialogue, Eric. Is that kind of what you're getting at? Am I following you?
yeah, because like I
Yeah.
felt like it could either the first part of the story could have been condensed and get those ideas across with fewer words and less panels and or something like that, so
Mhm.
that we don't have a book that's like half like novel and then the action picks up on the second half. Like I don't know, I don't like books that have a tremendous amount of words in it, especially when it's just an offshoot. I mean, not an
Yeah, yeah.
offshoot, a one shot.
I feel you. So what would you give the art overall a grade, Eric?
The art, I would give a C for the art as well.
Hmm. I'd probably give it a D plus again, just because the stark contrast between pages that I thought were some of the best I've ever seen from Patrick, and then pages where it's I don't understand it. Like that's how stark
Yeah.
the difference is. So I would give it like a D plus, I think.
Mhm.
Um, all right, we'll go on to physical quality, Eric. What did you think?
Okay. All right now. Um, the physical quality of this book is actually what disappointed me tremendously. Um, this was a 20, I believe is $25 book or 20 or $25 book. Um, how many pages was it? 40 pages, and it came in the version of a floppy. And like floppies, they range on quality depending on the type of paper you get.
Hmm.
And I still get a lot of comics from the mainstream, so I like mostly I buy stuff from Image and Boom. I do have a few DC titles on my pull list that I get,
Hmm.
and I would I would really rate like the actual physical quality of like the paper and stuff to like a 399 image floppy,
Hmm.
where the paper is extra thin, it's very flimsy, it's extremely flimsy,
Hmm.
and easy to rip, easy to tear. And for a $25 price point, I don't believe that it matches the quality. Like for a $25 purchase for a book for a comic, I expect a much better quality from that, especially in CG, because we
Hmm.
have other books like USA Assassin, who did similarly well as far as raising funds, who had a higher page count, which was 54, same price point, which is 25, but it was also perfect bound and had thicker stock paper.
Hmm.
And so I was much much happier with the USA Assassin uh, investment than this one, just based off of the quality, the paper quality alone. And like to emphasize on this too is like this isn't the first time that this creator has um given us lower quality stuff, and it it oh go ahead,
Yeah, to
you
be
got it.
fair though, like I think the previous books had been advertised as newsprint, so I mean, I knew
True
going
that.
in that I was getting
Yeah.
newsprint, and I thought that was kind of cool at the beginning because it's like
Mhm.
1977 and then it's 1985, so that's a newsprint still a thing. That's kind of cool, right? Like I
Yeah.
understood that. Not here, not so much. So I would agree
Yeah.
with you, Eric. Keep going. I know you had more to say, and then you jump in.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, because like with 1985, man, I was disappointed because like for some reason, I guess I either toned out when he was saying it was newsprint, or I just didn't catch his streams or something. But
Mm,
when I got the book, I would like honestly like I was disappointed. I still haven't even read it because of that.
mm.
Like I felt like I was I'm not gonna say that. Um, but
I
I
told you,
I
Eric. No edits. No
I,
edits.
I but I was disappointed in that.
I
Very,
get you.
very disappointed in that.
I get you. So the physical quality for me was not. I was like I said with 7785. He said it was newsprint, so I knew that going in. But
Yeah.
I'm going to show an example here of why maybe I'm going to grade it as harsh as I am because I don't want to think people thinking, well, here's my book, right?
Uh,
So as everybody knows, is I'm a big Kenneth Rocafort fan. That's this is a Rocafort cover,
yeah.
and this is after like I flipped through it twice. This happened after the first time, and I mean
Mhm.
I could go take another picture. I don't feel like I need to. I think this says plenty, but
Yeah.
up and down the spine, there's kind of it's you could tell
Mhm.
it's going to even get worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this, I've it's just
And for
disappointing.
$25, I'm sorry to cut you off, man,
Go
but for
ahead.
like $25 to me, that's unacceptable, man.
Yeah.
Like,
So I don't think I've been disappointed with the physical, even with this 85 and 77 books. And the 77 books were newsprint, but what he did was divide up 77 into three. It was a graphic
uh,
novel, but then he split it into three, sold three but you paid $5 a piece for them. So it was
is he
$15 for three floppies on newsprint,
and
which is
see, and
great.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Right.
I got the I think it's the graphic novel, excuse me, graphic novel version of 77, where it just came in like a perfect bound
Hmm.
book. That's the version I got.
Okay. But
And
yeah, you get this. You're expecting, dude, I was disappointed. I guess like
yeah.
so. There's the picture. I don't want people thinking I'm being harsh. That's what I got. So, um, did it come like this? I don't think it did. I'm pretty sure after the first reading. Now I'm not
Mhm.
hard on my books.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing this around.
Mhm.
And like I said, I could take other pictures like up in the spine. I see two little holes just looking at it right now that where I could tell this is going to
Gosh.
happen at different
Yeah.
spots on the spine. So
Yeah.
there you
And
go.
yeah,
So what
just
would you grade the physical quality then, Eric?
physical quality is straight up F based off of
Yeah.
the price point. Because like if I was charged, like 3.99 for $5 or whatever, I'd be fine. I'd be fine.
Hmm.
But for
Um,
25 bucks, no.
yeah. So I mean, when you look at all together, what would you grade the book overall then? So you gave the story a C
Hmm.
plus, you gave the art a C, and you gave the physical quality an F. What would you do think overall?
Uh, gosh, I'd probably say a D overall.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm at a D. Like there's just look. I'm just say this, but at CG, having a nice looking book in your hand, I think is the standard now, Eric. Like you were
Yes.
saying, like you could look at books like that that's fun for $25,000 or less, and they come in their premium. So
Yeah.
This
Yep.
is it's kind of rough. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
Yep. Because I received a book called The Veil Walker, issue one. I got it for $8, and it was 25 pages, but the card stock is much thicker than what I got here. And
Hmm.
for comparison, I don't know if he uses the same printer as Boom, but the card stock was the same type of quality um as a Boom Studios comic, and I
Hmm.
and I was fine with that. And this was a guy that made I think like $3,000 on his campaign,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, I would
so
agree. Yep. Well, I mean, I got a
so
book in recently. I'm not going to name the name of the book, but it's a floppy. It's 32 pages or maybe more. I think there's might be more than that. But it cost me $15 or $16, and it's a floppy. But again, there's no way there's no comparison when it comes to the quality. And the book funded
yeah,
less than Ultra Stars, so it's the same
yeah.
thing. Um, Again, George and I always ask a question at the end, and the question is, would you back PTP again, Eric?
Um, at this point, I'm holding off from backing him right now, only because this is two times in a row I received a low quality book, and so I'm keeping an eye on 93 to see how that turns out, and if it's better quality, I'll go ahead and start backing again.
Fair enough. I think what I've learned is I'm going to read the fine print a little bit more. Now, I'm disappointed it's 40 pages, but to be fair to PTP, it was advertised as 40 pages. So that's my bad. Thought it
Mhm.
should have been more. I think when we were talking about the dialogue, there was a lot of dialogue uh, and balloons on certain pages that it should have been more. The
Yeah,
story even dictated a little bit, but he said 40 pages, man. Like, so that's not on him, that's on me.
yeah,
But what
yeah,
I have learned is like I will read the fine print on his campaigns before making that decision. So I'm not saying I'm not going to back him again, though. I'm just
yeah.
saying. Um, Eric, we were talking a little bit, and we got a couple books we're probably going to review together. Some more books. Creed, I
Mhm.
think we were talking about.
Yep, Creed.
And did we say Alien Alamo? Is that something we're both going getting?
Yep, Alien Animal.
Okay.
Alamo, sorry.
So, and you got a channel and you do book reviews, and like
Mhm.
there's books that you back that I don't back that obviously you do reviews on over there. I'll leave the
Yeah,
description to your YouTube channel in the link below
I
if you guys want to go
appreciate
over
it.
there and throw Eric a back or a sub. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. And
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure Alien Alamo will be next, so
Yeah.
because that's on the way.
Yep.
I got my
It's
notice today.
Oh, I haven't gotten mine yet,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm waiting. That's a book I've been actually looking forward to
There
because
you go. There you go. We will talk to everybody later.
have a good day.